faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hi, this is Ema's Book Talk.
Today, we're exploring the book, The Challenge of Marriage.
Ever felt this way? Marriages that began with love, yours or others, gradually become unbearable over time. Couples lose common ground, in-law relationships turn difficult, and children's education often sparks conflicts. Many grow disillusioned with marriage, even doubting if they chose wrong. Psychiatrist Alfred Adler first framed marriage as a challenge, a joint effort for couples. Author Rudolf Dreikurs, an American psychiatrist, expanded Adler's ideas into practical methods. Dreikurs identifies mistaken approaches to intimacy and offers solutions. He aims to help those feeling trapped in marriage navigate its challenges. Now, The Challenge of Marriage is part of Dreikurs's Challenge Trilogy series. The other two, Children, The Challenge, and Parents, The Challenge, are modern family essentials. Continuously reprinted since its 1950s debut, it inspired the gender perspective in the bestseller Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Let's explore how Dreikurs helps those entering or navigating marriage tackle this profound challenge. I'll unpack the book through three lenses. First, why do you keep choosing incompatible partners? Second, what are marriage's common challenges? Third, how can we overcome them? Starting with part one, why do you always meet the wrong person? Choosing poorly begins marital discord. Imagine you're single. One suitor's idle and gambling addicted, the other's gentle and caring. Who'd you pick? Most say, isn't it obvious? Definitely the kind, considerate one, right? But Drakers met Susan, who chose the gambler. After marrying Susan, this man didn't change at all. In fact, he got worse. He never held a steady job, lied constantly, didn't contribute a penny to the household, and always took Susan's money. You might wonder, is there something wrong with Susan herself? Actually, Susan is an honest, approachable, and quite beautiful woman. Then why would she reject a good man and choose such a husband? It turns out Susan was born into a large family with an older brother and a younger brother, so she was often overlooked by her parents. To gain her parents' attention, she worked hard from childhood in studies and life, striving to outperform her brothers in every way. This desire to surpass others extended to her choice of a partner, so she chose a husband who was weaker and less stable, someone she could completely surpass. Actually, Susan's psychology isn't unique. Her experience reveals three key factors influencing partner choice: personal secret expectations, past experiences, and personal tastes. First, let's explore the first factor. What are personal secret expectations? They're thoughts you can't voice aloud, but that shape your decisions. For example, Susan wanting a weaker husband she could surpass. That was her secret expectation. The refined man was too excellent to meet her secret expectation, so she rejected him.
The author likens secret expectations to a compass, guiding how people respond.
In other words, how your partner treats you aligns with your initial secret expectations. Guided by her secret expectations, Susan always aimed to dominate the marriage, so her husband's flaws, which others would avoid, were attractive to her. So, what shapes a person's secret expectations? Actually, this ties closely to people's past life experiences.
Past life experiences are the second major factor influencing partner choice.
A person develops their unique character through past experiences. This character influences partner selection and interaction patterns, essentially replicating past life. The author mentions a man named Tom who complains that his wife is domineering. She gives him very little pocket money, doesn't give him personal space, and constantly criticizes his habits. But when the author discussed Tom's childhood with him, he realized Tom likely married her precisely because of these traits. Turns out Tom had a doting mother. He grew accustomed to her meticulous care from a young age. So, when dating his wife, he adored her constraints, like her clinginess and aversion to fancy dates. He felt she was different from other women. This was her unique way of caring. The author suggests that those used to dependency since childhood might always seek such dynamics.
He's drawn to people with this personality because he's habituated to being coddled, even controlled.
The third factor in choosing a partner is personal taste. As the saying goes, different strokes for different folks. Tastes vary widely. One's taste is often shaped by secret expectations and past experiences. Many fall for partners who promise disharmony, ignoring suitable matches. Take Susan's case. Others saw her husband as lazy and addicted, but to her, he was irresistibly attractive. She couldn't even explain why. This attraction stems from him fulfilling her superiority complex. Susan's past forged her unconventional taste. Make sense? So after seeing what influences choice, how should we actually pick a partner? Some say, no method, just follow my gut. If it feels right, it is right. Others set criteria. Meet them and I'll choose you. Fail and I'll pass. Neither approach is wrong, but both have limits. Relying solely on feelings without logic makes love unreliable.
Many romanticize love at first sight.
Take Audrey Hepburn. She fell instantly for Mel Ferrer, ignored his 3 failed marriages, married him resolutely, yet their union still collapsed. Hepburn was blinded by emotions and didn't think things through. The deeper reason behind Ferrer's multiple marriage failures was his controlling nature and constant cheating. On the other hand, without genuine feelings from the heart, even seemingly rational choices might not be suitable. For example, in ancient China, marriages relied entirely on parental orders and matchmakers' words, which could be seen as the most rational choice.
But in reality, such choices lacked an emotional foundation, creating countless unhappy couples.
Lu Shun and his first wife, Zhu An, Xu Jimo and his first wife, Jiang Yi, and so on. The author believes that to make a correct choice, there are at least 3 aspects to pay attention to. First, what you find is what you deserve. You need the determination to live your best life under current circumstances. What does this mean? The kind of partner you choose matches your current life situation. There's no such thing as marrying up or down. First, have the resolve to live your best life, enrich yourself, and then seek a partner. This boosts your chances of finding a better match. Second, interact more with the opposite sex and be willing to choose. This is quite straightforward. If besides work, you just stay home unwilling to meet people, how can you have a chance to know more folks and find the right one? Third, have common sense. How to understand common sense? Many feel that after marriage, their partner seems like a different person. But did they really change? It's not that they changed, it's because you ignored common sense. For example, if someone is very attentive from the start, arranging everything meticulously for you, then you can reasonably infer that this person focuses on details. And after marriage, they might be rigid or even nitpicky in daily life. Or for instance, if someone has big emotional swings early on, expresses love grandly, makes mistakes, and even kneels publicly to apologize, then you can reasonably infer that this person has poor emotional control, and in future conflicts, they might resort to extreme actions. With this common sense and reasonable inferences, you won't face a huge letdown after spending time together. So how do I judge if I've chosen the right partner? The author makes a crucial point. Love and marriage are just one of many life issues. Value it, but don't make it the only thing. When you stop focusing all your energy on your partner, you might view your choice more objectively. Another criterion is whether your attitude toward your partner aligns with your attitude toward life. What does that mean? If your current life feels comfortable, then your partner choice is likely right for this stage. But if their presence makes you feel off, depressed, or even miserable, you might have chosen wrong. Some might panic. Oh no, by this standard, I picked wrong. What should I do? And fear even if they did choose wrong. But knowing how to handle marital challenges can turn a wrong choice into a right one. So, what are marriage's common challenges? That's what we'll explore now. For a second topic, I've categorized the author's challenges into internal and external types. Internal challenges mean problems between spouses, especially 1. Lacking effective communication, complaining or pressuring instead of talking. Here's an example. A husband gets criticized at work and wants to rest when home, but his wife planned for them to visit friends right after work. The husband refuses. "I'm exhausted today, let's go next time."
The wife snaps. Heretofore, every time I want to go out, you're tired. You're coming this time. Then they argue. This scenario's super common in marriages.
One partner pushes for something while the other resists. Both feel misunderstood, unable to agree. Logically, if it's a special occasion, like a friend's birthday or illness, the husband could push through fatigue. If it's just a casual hangout and he's exhausted, the wife could stay home with him. If both are equally important, say a rare friend reunion versus his business trip tomorrow, they could negotiate, like going separately. But most couples fail at this. They usually resort to two ways when facing problems. Either complain, using the most direct emotions to force the other party to follow their wishes. For example, if the husband doesn't want to go to a friend's house, the wife thinks that just complaining and criticizing a bit will make him obey, or they fight, and whoever wins the argument gets their way. And many people feel that marriage is a competitive relationship. It's either the east wind prevailing over the west wind, or the west wind prevailing over the east wind. When conflicts arise between two people, there seems no other choice but to fight or yield. But do these two ways really solve the problem? In that earlier example, if the husband reluctantly agrees to go to the friend gathering because he's already exhausted and in a bad mood, his participation won't be high, and he might even do something that embarrasses his wife. If the husband insists on not attending, the wife is either forced to stay home or go alone. Either way, she ends up full of resentment. Similar communication breakdowns over daily trivialities, when accumulated over time, become the killer of marriage. According to China's 2018 judicial big data, the top reason for divorce is precisely daily trivialities. Following that are spousal separation, weak emotional foundation, domestic violence, bad habits, personality differences, and so on. Infidelity, which many consider the arch enemy of marriage, ranks 8th. The second aspect of internal challenges for couples is entering the old married couple state after marriage, no longer making efforts to maintain intimacy. Many people after getting married feel they no longer need to express love to their partner, nor share happy or unhappy things. For example, Jenny complains that since her husband got promoted, he's been fully focused on work, completely ignoring her.
Jenny says that when she encounters something interesting and wants to share it with her husband, he's never interested. When he asks about her work, she finds it annoying.
After being neglected multiple times, Jenny can't help but accuse her husband, but he turns around and accuses her of making a fuss over nothing. In the old married couple state, many even see their partner's cooperation in sex as an obligation. The author once counseled such a couple, Mr. Peter. They loved each other, agreed on many aspects of life, but their sex life was very poor. Often, Mrs. Peter just wants her husband to kiss and hug her. But Mr. Peter is always highly desirous, and Mrs. Peter feels he lacks manners in sex life, being too dominant, so she resents him deeply. Actually, the real problem for this couple is that they stopped expressing emotions after marriage. So, women want sweet interactions with men like before marriage, but men think their love and emotions are self-evident, not needing deliberate expression. Besides internal challenges between spouses, there are external challenges outside their feelings, mainly in 3 aspects. First, economic issues. As the saying goes, poor couples mourn over everything. Without money, all problems seem to become problems. For example, some women prioritize a man's economic strength when choosing a husband, and if his financial ability declines, she complains a lot. And some men are originally the main breadwinners, the pillars of the family.
But when the wife's earning ability surpasses the husband's, many men panic, feeling their personal prestige in the family is threatened. unconsciously creating more conflicts with the wife, even deliberately causing conflicts to assert their authority.
Second, conflicts among family members, like mother-in-law and daughter-in-law issues, sister-in-law problems, etc. Let's look at an example. Mary's husband's sister often only invites the husband to their home, not her. And every time after coming back from the sister's house, the husband always nitpicks Mary, and Mary thinks the sister spoke ill of her to the husband. For this, Mary feels very wronged. She once asked her husband not to go to the sister's house anymore, but the husband said, "It's hard because it's his own sister." This case is very common in life. You can replace sister with mother-in-law, sister-in-law, etc., and it still holds. This is the most common and trickiest problem with the spouse's family in daily married life. If family conflicts aren't handled well, even partners who were very loving can develop rifts and even separate because of it. Finally, there's the issue of children's education. Many couples might feel that before having kids, married life was as sweet as dating. After having kids, everything changes. Every move of the child drains the parent's energy, and child-related issues often become sources of mutual blame between spouses. And, for instance, when a child performs poorly in school, the father blames the mother for not properly tutoring the homework. When the child spends money recklessly, the mother blames the father for spoiling them, buying whatever the child demands, as if the child becomes the marriage killer. Among the 5 internal and external challenges, the internal ones are fundamental. External challenges are just the last straw breaking the marriage when internal issues already exist. Do you think a lot of manhood, for example, are financial issues the real culprit behind marital breakdown? Or catalysts for couples to overcome hardships together? This actually depends on their relationship dynamics, like when both partners believe men should be breadwinners, or the woman married for money. Then financial problems easily wreck the marriage. Mother-in-law conflicts are another classic example. When friction arises, if the husband brushes things under the rug or secretly sides with his mom, the wife feels insecure. Or if he doubts her willingness to solve family conflicts, rifts gradually form. Same with kids. Raising children is arduous, requiring shared effort. If parents constantly blame each other when issues arise, child problems escalate into family crises. So building a stable, intimate marital relationship is key. Then other problems resolve themselves. This leads to our third section. How can we tackle challenges to build a vibrant, fulfilling marriage? I've distilled the author's views into 3 key points. First, couples must understand they're not competitors. You might wonder, since they're not colleagues or business rivals, how could they compete? But actually, many couples compete long-term, partly due to rising female empowerment. Historically, men dominated society and homes while women were appendages. Now women's status keeps rising. Financially, in many households, women earn as much as men. Some even surpass them, becoming primary breadwinners. Moreover, with the rise of women's awareness, even if they can't surpass their husbands economically, in household decision-making, women won't be completely dominated as in the past. For example, the wife who invited her husband to the friend gathering might not have felt it was essential, but seeing his firm refusal, she insisted on winning over him. As the saying goes, not fighting for the bun, but fighting for breath. Therefore, in facing marital challenges, the first step is not to see each other as competitors. If not competitors, then what? The author believes it should be partners. This is key to building a stable, intimate relationship. The second key point is that couples cooperate to fulfill all responsibilities of their small family. For example, bearing financial burdens, supporting both parents, handling family relationships, raising children, and so on. All failures, unhappiness, and disappointments in married life can be traced back to couples neglecting or violating essential rules of cooperation. So how do we cooperate? First, have 2 confidences. Confidence in others means recognizing and accepting their emotions, realizing they're not intentionally opposing you, but genuinely facing difficulties. Confidence in oneself means recognizing and accepting one's own emotions, realizing they're not intentionally opposing you, but genuinely facing difficulties. Couples often don't know what the other is thinking, so they fail to see the real cause of pain, only focusing on their own perceived injustice. With confidence in others, they try to see things from their partner's perspective, and then they come back to the memory planet. Confidence in oneself means believing you are the source of strength, able to face whatever happens and the consequences of your actions. Combining these two confidences turns two individuals into us, a united entity. All problems become our shared problems. With this big premise, cooperation becomes easy. For example, Xiao Wang and Xiao Li's wedding anniversary is coming up. Wife Xiao Wang booked a restaurant and movie tickets days in advance to celebrate. But on the anniversary afternoon, husband Xiao Li's project hit a snag, forcing him to travel immediately to meet a client. Standing her up, Xiao Wang got very angry. Xiao Li also felt very wronged. Actually, if they had confidence in each other, they'd see each has their own difficulties. No one wants to deliberately ruin the anniversary. If husband Xiao Li had confidence in himself, he would clearly tell his wife about the anniversary situation. Even if he has to travel, he wouldn't deny his affection. He'd arrange another celebration. And if wife Xiao Wang had confidence in herself, she wouldn't escalate this to questioning whether he loves her or not. Secondly, cooperation requires following certain rules. The first rule is, the power of veto outweighs the power of request. What does that mean? The author believes it's harder for someone to do something they dislike than to refrain from doing something they enjoy.
Take the wife inviting husband to the gathering. Couples should agree that the husband's veto power outweighs the wife's request power.
If the husband declines, the wife should respect his decision. Only by respecting each other's wishes can they avoid feeling oppressed or controlled in marriage. For trivial disagreements, the author suggests acting separately. Let each do what they enjoy without coercion. Differing interests aren't the root of marital disappointment, but what disappoints is the damage to the cooperative relationship. But if the husband forbids his wife from attending while refusing to go himself, the author sees this as equally violating cooperation rules by demanding abandonment of interests. It's still enforcing control. The author recommends first trying to expand shared interests. If sincere effort fails, then abandon the activity. The second rule is stop shifting blame. When mistakes happen, people instinctively seek someone to blame and hold accountable. If it's the partner, they complain. If it's themselves, they self-blame. But arguing over fault only produces excuses, not solutions. In fact, often the goal isn't problem-solving, but excusing one's own failures. Consider this. The author's student, Tom, was preparing for a crucial exam, but his wife kept arguing over trivialities, distracting him. Deeper talks revealed Tom had been stressed since studying, treating his wife poorly, coming home late, ignoring her topics. Tom kept insisting it was his wife's arguing that prevented him from focusing on studying. This was actually making excuses for himself because he lacked confidence in his exam performance and wanted to shift the blame to his wife. And if Tom really wanted to prepare well, he should stop complaining, seek cooperation from his wife, honestly express his exam worries, and ask for her support in daily life. Therefore, the author suggests that when you want to blame, make excuses, or complain, immediately recognize you're violating cooperation principles, stop the hostility, accept the situation, and focus on solving the problem. The third key point is to keep expressing love to your partner after marriage. Often, home is a place for love, not for logic. The author advises, during arguments, pause logic and morality debates. Don't just yield or apologize to smooth things over. Give your partner what they truly need, intimacy and devotion. Like a hug, a holiday gift, or sweet words. On this, women express love and emotions more intensely. If men don't repeatedly express love and affection, women struggle to feel it. Let's see an example. Jeff often came home late due to work and social events. One day he returned to find his wife sulking on the sofa. When Jeff greeted her, she ignored him. He asked, "What's wrong?" She still wouldn't speak, so Jeff got angry too.
Finally, the wife yelled, "Go play with your girlfriends! Why come home?"
Jeff felt baffled, telling her not to imagine things, but she kept suspecting. Why did Jeff's wife imagine things? Because Jeff's late returns and rare expressions of love made her insecure about her place in his heart, sparking this fight. Their problem-solving approach was flawed too. Jeff kept justifying himself, trying to reason logically that he wasn't seeing other women, while his wife spoke emotionally, hinting at neglect. Their expressions were misaligned. Maintaining post-marriage intimacy means both partners strive for deeper emotional sensitivity. Once lost, small issues become big problems. And, in summary, we need to focus on solving the internal challenges. Both spouses should face all problems with a cooperative attitude without complaining or shifting blame. Moreover, couples should consistently maintain a close relationship. This way, so-called economic issues, family conflicts, and child-rearing problems can all be resolved smoothly. At this point, we've finished introducing the book, The Challenge of Marriage. Let's review together. It's often said that choosing the wrong partner starts marital discord. So why do people always meet the wrong person? Because when choosing a partner, people are influenced by their secret expectations, past experiences, and personal tastes. To make the right choice, first realize that the partner you choose matches your current life situation. So first, have the resolve to live your best life. Second, interact more with the opposite sex. Third, have common sense and reasonable inferences. If you feel comfortable in your current life, then your partner is the right one for you. There are many common challenges in marriage, like spouses always blaming each other, lack of emotional communication, economic issues, mother-in-law conflicts, and children's education problems. When facing these challenges, first realize that spouses aren't competitors. Second, spouses should adopt a cooperative attitude. Third, couples should keep expressing affection after marriage. Love is an eternal topic. Falling in love is tough. After the spark, shared values and compatible vibes keep it going long term. But living together is even harder. The long years of married life reveal each other's vulnerabilities, foolishness, selfishness, and laziness. There's no ideal marriage template. Every good interaction stems from both partners' efforts and wisdom. A happy marriage is never simple. May this book help you and your loved one tackle the challenges. That's all for our interpretation of The Challenge of Marriage. Listening notes are below the audio. See you next time.